Hey you all, Happy New Year's. I hope your new year is off to a great start. Today I wanted to discuss a video that was requested by one of my LinkedIn friends, and that is life as a black male social worker. Before we get started, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button to be notified of more videos like this. So I think it's important to begin with statistics. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, less than 20% of social workers are male, and there are no specific statistics of what number of those male social workers are black, but there are a few articles that outline different black men's social worker experience in their MSW program, where they were one of 3 black men in a program of 132 students. I think that's an important statistic because my experience was very similar. I was in a class of 128, and there was only myself and one other black guy that was pursuing an MSW full time. I think it's important for me to outline my graduate education experience because it's very similar to my career experience, and that is facing stereotype threats. Being one of the only black students, and specifically one of the only black male students, it was very hard to have a normal graduate education experience because you already enter the program wanting to perform well, but because you're also combating stereotype threats, there's extra pressures and extra layers that you have to face as a student. For me, I overcompensated to combat the stigma and stereotype of black men being lazy and black men being angry. So I was very nice and very accommodating and very pleasant to make sure I never came off angry or upset about things, even if I had the right to be. I also feel pressured to perform well in all of my classes because I didn't want to be stigmatized as lazy or as dumb. So I made sure that I studied, and I made sure that I performed well, and I made sure that I answered the questions in class and volunteered and raised my hand and sat in the front row and arrived 15 minutes early to class just to make sure that I wasn't entertaining or validating any stigma or stereotype persons might have had about black men. This stereotype continues as I'm the only black male employee at my institution that I currently work at. I was the only black male employee in my previous institution, and it's really hard to be the only. There's not a lot of people that you can relate to, that you can relate with, and there's not a lot of understanding about you as a person, and there's not as much effort being placed for persons to understand me, but it's assumed that I have to understand a lot of other people just because they're the majority and because it's normal and it's routine for them to be in the roles in which they're in today. I think one of the things he wanted me to address is whether or not I ever experienced racism, and the answer to that is definitely, but not in the most obvious way. It was definitely more covert than overt. I would have a lot of eyebrows raised. There was a shock factor when I would enter the room or be introduced by the physician or be introduced by whoever as the social worker or as the clinician and as the person that would be working with the client. There would be a lot of questions about my credentials, about my education, about the legitimacy of my employment here. And this is kind of where the overcompensation came in, because when those questions arise, I had the answers, and I not only had my license and my degree, but it was from one of the top programs in the nation, and I also completed fellowships, and none of my other classmates did that. And so I had extra specializations and credentials behind my name that other clinicians did not have. And when the clients knew that, or employers or whoever knew that, there was just this shock factor that I just wish wasn't the case. As a Black male social worker, I definitely feel the need to know everything, to be excellent, to be great at what I do. And some of it is for the client, definitely, but some of it's definitely to make sure that I don't fall into the stigma or the stereotype, or to be caught as an imposter of, oh, we knew he couldn't do it and we were right about him. I'm not necessarily saying either of my employers had this notion, but there's definitely this sense, at minimum, from the clients and from the students, and it's just, again, a shock factor that shouldn't be. What I love about being a Black male social worker is that when I get to work with clients of the same race, so when I'm working with a Black male student or Black male client, it's very powerful to be able to exchange dialogues about our lived experiences and the ways in which we've learned the world, and how to navigate the spaces we're currently in, and how to combat the barriers and the traps that are set for us. I believe it is quite powerful for the client to be able to receive assistance from someone that looks like them, that sounds like them, that understands them, that's been where they are now. And it's definitely powerful for me to work with my people, to be frank, to see my people receiving help, or to see my people being in elite spaces. It's definitely rewarding to see them and to know that they are not only surviving, but thriving in the world and achieving their goals and conquering their fears. I think the other major thing that I have to balance is my self-care, because as a Black male social worker, I have a social justice lens, and when I hear problematic statements, whether it's from coworkers or supervisors or from clients, I'm often placed in a situation where I have to address it, and it becomes very hard to navigate what are my battles and what are HR's battles, and knowing when to report someone versus when to educate someone, or when to refer someone to sources. And it's just quite fatiguing as well, because many organizations and corporations require diversity and cultural competency training, and then you hear statements and you wonder if anyone ever paid attention to anything presented to you. There's definitely this need to balance how much I get involved in. I am not the spokesperson for all things Black. We are not all monolithic or homogeneous. We all have different experiences, and I cannot speak for every Black person. So sometimes that can be challenging when everyone will come to you for all things Black, and it's like, oh no, you may need to read this book, you may need to go to this website, and just really knowing when to educate someone and when to redirect someone, and being okay with that and not feeling guilty about that is, I would say, an added pressure. So that is all that I have for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and comment in the comment section below what's one thing you hope to see more of in 2018. For me, I definitely hope to see more Black men entering the profession. I hope to see more Black men being made aware of this as a career option. I was not made aware of it until my last semester of undergrad. So I think there's a lot of education and a lot of promotion that this field needs. And I'm definitely one that thinks it's important, especially for clinical social workers, to be available to provide psychotherapy services to Black male clients. I think the final pro that I would say is, again, it's very powerful to be a male and to be able to talk to my male clients about men's issues. And the clients found that they've had a much easier time building rapport with me and building everything that they need with me and opening up with me. They just felt more comfortable doing it with a male than with a female. So that's also very rewarding as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and until I see you next time, be you, be great.